Hi, I'm Regina Gill. I'm the founder and executive director of the Gold Coast Art Center, which is where we are today as we interview, talk to, learn more about the work and life of the artist Adam Handler. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
We're going to be asking Adam questions. We're trying to, in honor of World Art Day, we're trying to establish what makes an artist. What point in your life do you realize this is what I want to do? And not all artists start off doing that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It was probably around 18 or 19 years old that I figured I really wanted to be an artist. I always was creative. I was always doodling, sketching on my desks. I was frequent in detention in high school because I would write all over my desk and draw. So there was a little bit of...
Teachers loved you.
Yes, teachers did love me. But it was probably around 18 when I started life drawing in Italy. Where I really had a professor that really kind of encouraged creative processes and experimenting and looking outside the box.
How did you, there's a story, how did you get to Italy?
Oh, that's probably...
Which is like every artist's dream.
So I was studying at SUNY Purchase. I was studying art history and sculpture. And there was a program in a...
So let's back that up. So you already knew in college that this was the path you were taking.
Yeah.
So at what point in high school?
In high school it was, well, I grew up and I had kind of had an interesting upbringing. I was surrounded by the arts all the time. My grandparents owned a framing factory in Brooklyn. So my mother was a New York City school teacher and she would drop me off at the framing factory in Brooklyn. So my brother and I would spend countless hours around art. I mean, art from Picasso, Chagall's, Matisse paintings. It was, for me, I found it to be the most comforting environment to be surrounded by all these amazing representations of figures and flowers. And I knew that something in me was going to be an artist, whether it was working with the arts or being an artist myself.
Did you meet any resistance from your parents?
Not my mother. My mother always encouraged my creativity, and my father, he didn't outrightly say it, but my father comes from a more business mind, and he didn't think that it would be possible to actually make a living being an artist.
That kills me.
And now, even today, even when he calls me about once a week, saying, "Are you okay? How are you doing? Are you making?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm doing all right."
Haven't taken out the tin cup
yet.
Dad.
Haven't. So back to the story then. So I was studying in Italy, and I had a professor that really encouraged my creativity.
Who was that?
It was his name was Len Stokes, and I studied in a very small town on the Amalfi Coast in Peshota, and it happened to also be. Where
Everyone
I met my wife. My wife was at that time studying as well in the same program, but I didn't know her before. So I was in love. I was surrounded by with wine and great food, and it really spurred my creativity, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
So when you say it snowballed, so you graduated from school?
Yes, I graduated from school.
And your exhibits some of them were in school?
Some of them were in school. Some of them I really went out a lot and really kind of pushed myself and pushed my work. And I would have an exhibit.
Where?
Pushed it in galleries, collectors, doing every little contest here and there. And sales started to happen and collectors started to follow me, and I just hustled. I kept hustling and showing anywhere that would show my work.
This is very important. Yeah. You should be telling the public.
Yeah.
There are artists out there. There are students here, and they're not just students who are visual artists, but students who are performing artists. And they need to know that this isn't like some lightning bolt that just suddenly hits you one day. I mean, maybe it happens to one person.
Very rarely, but
that it's really a process.
It is. It's a process, and a lot now. I'm at the age. I'm 30 now. Even though I'm considered still a younger artist, I feel like I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. So I feel a little bit. I have some advice for people, and I'm getting younger artists now asking me,
right?
What kind of advice can you give me? How did you get into galleries working like this? And the first piece of advice I always give to everyone is to have a very thick skin and to believe in your work, because you're going to get a lot of criticism. You're going to have people who don't understand exactly modern or contemporary art, and you need to really believe in yourself, because if people see and collectors and galleries see that you don't believe in your work, how are you going to get other people to actually purchase works of art from you?
Now, you were in Italy. Did you feel that was the same thing when you were in Italy? Did the average person have a better understanding of art and culture and an interest in what you were doing?
At that time when I was studying, it was really just the beginning. So I really wasn't trying to sell my work. I was just like kind of an explosion of creativity and drawing. So it was really just kind of almost like an outlet.
Okay.
And it didn't probably until I graduated that I sort of like, okay, now I need to pay bills and make a living and do things like this. I wasn't going to just be able to drink wine and eat in a square for as many hours as I wanted to.
Which is the stereotype of the artist.
Yes, yes, but no, it's a lot of hours in the studio, and a lot of hours actually not in the studio, sending emails, sending photos, updating your website, doing social media. So it's probably a 50-50. Yeah.
So you're talking about the business of art.
The business of art.
Versus the process of the inspiration. And it's very unusual to have an artist who's actually a good businessman.
Yeah, it's important.
Even historically, we don't have to talk about Van Gogh, but we could. They say that Rubens, Peter Paul Rubens, was unique even in his day because he was a fantastic businessman, which is why he was able to have big, huge apprentices in studio, maybe 50, 60 artists working for him. And that's unusual. So
it is, and it's important. You figured it out, and you figured it out a necessity. You're saying, do you want to have a real job, or do you want to live a life as an artist? Well, it is a career that is very rewarding if you're able to actually make a living as it, being an artist. For me, it was that hustle. It was that.
Did you take a business class?
No, never.
Never did.
Never did. But my father, my father used to sell sweaters and all kinds of different.
So there was
he'd buy
business
things in the flea market. So as a kid, there used to be a large flea market in Nassau County in Long Island, and every Sunday I would. My father and my uncle would be there, and I would spend. And they hustled. They knew how to make sales and do things like that. So I think part of me.
Osmosis.
Yeah, I think something came through.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Well, that's good because. One of the things that we try to emphasize, and we're talking about filmmakers and painters and sculptors and dancers, and some people are shy about selling their work. Some people consider it's getting their hands dirty when they talk about money, and I think that's a mistake. I think people have to understand that it's a profession, it's a job. You've put in a lot of time studying, and you continue to do that to grow, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that process, how your work changed from, let's say, post-college to where you are today.
Yeah. Well, my work, you look at some of my work probably from when I was 19, 20, 21, you wouldn't even be able to tell.
Do we have any samples of that?
No, probably I could always send you images, but very different work.
We're going to hold you to that.
Very different work. I was doing a lot of that time. They were more inspired by Impressionist paintings. I was doing a very kind of Van Gogh, Matisse style works. I was still trying to find my own voice. Right. And then it went, in my mid-20s trying to be, doing photography and collage and trying to be more edgy. But it wasn't honest. But it was a process. I was learning about myself and my work. And then it was probably about 5 years ago that I really kind of let go of all that and decided to be completely honest with myself and vulnerable in that sense. And that my work changed. And I've been doing the current work that's going to be at Gold Coast is reflective of that. And then you'll see that series of works.
Let's mention that.
Yeah.
So you're having an exhibit here. We've invited you to have an exhibit here with us at the Gold Coast Art Center in our gallery, which is free and open to the public to come in and visit and see this work. And to meet you at the artist reception, which will be what day?
May 7th from 4 to 7 p.m.
Is the reception.
And the
exhibit will be going
It'll be through the entire summer until September 15th, so you'll have a long
window
to see the exhibit.
Yes, okay, that's fantastic. Thank you, Adam Handler. Thank you for being with us today on PATV, and you are celebrating World Art Day with us.